Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to see some of the compression techniques that Linux provides us, and specifically we are going to look at gzip and binary zip or bzip2. Now, the algorithm or the protocol or the technique that is used by bzip is different than gzip, and generally bzip2 provides us more compression ratio as compared to gzip, but really that depends on the contents type and the file type. Sometimes you will see that if you are using gzip, then that has provided you more compression as compared to bzip2, but generally bzip2 provides us more compression. Just remember that thing. Also, when we do the compression, the file parameters like permission, owner and group information, or when that file got modified, they do get preserved in the compressed file as well, so that when we decompress it or uncompress it on a different location or maybe on the same location, those values do not get changed. So both of these commands are provided natively for most of the Linux distribution, and they come really handy in compressing our large files into smaller files. And the command for compression or using these compressing techniques is really simple. For gzip, we just type in gzip and then the file name, and in case of bzip2, the syntax is just the same. It's bzip2 and then the file name, unless we want some specific switches that we want to use. So let's now head over to the terminal and see how we can achieve this compression using these two commands. So I'm here on the terminal. I'm using Ubuntu platform at the moment, and I'm in my home directory. Let's see the contents of the directory. I have created this file1, and if I show you the contents of this file, if I do it more and file1, we see that I have put in some data repeatedly to make it a bit longer, so that it would be easier for us to compare the file sizes when we do the compression. So if I do ls-l of this file1, we see that its size is around 134 kilobyte or 134.5 kilobyte to be exact. Now let's compress it by first using gzip program. So I type in gzip and then the file name, which is file1. Now once I do that, we will see that this file, it is zipped, and not only that it is zipped, but this original file, it gets replaced by its zipped version or compressed version. So if I do ls, we see now that there is no file1, but there is a file in red color which is file1.gz. Now let's have a look at its size. So if I do ls-l file1.gz, we see that the original file size was 134.5 kilobyte, and now it has been drastically reduced to 480 bytes. Now what we can do is that let's bring it back. Let's unzip this file. So the way to do that is unzip and then the file name, do an ls of the directory maybe, and now we see again that this file, it has, since it's been uncompressed, it has been replaced by the original file, and the size of this file definitely would be the same as that of the original one. Now likewise, we can use the gzip or bzip2 program, which uses a different compression technique, and ideally we should be seeing that bzip2 should compress it more as compared to gzip. So let's do that. Let's type in bzip2 and then the file name, which is file1, and once that is done, let's have a look at first at the maybe directory and then specifically the size of that file, which is file1.bz2. So if I press enter and look at this, this is 175, the size of the file that has been compressed using bzip2 compression algorithm, as compared to the file size which was using gzip algorithm. So in this case, since it's a plain simple text file, we can see the significant difference of compression as far as the two different algorithms are concerned. But if you are doing like picture compression or maybe PDS or maybe MP3 or maybe videos, you may observe that sometimes gz or gzip program, it provides more compression ratio as compared to bzip2. Now in real world scenarios, what really happens is that if we are trying to compress a folder or trying to tar a folder, then not only we do tar but we also compress it. So it's like a two-step process. But tar command has got this feature where we can not only make a tar ball out of a directory, but we can also compress it in one step. So let's try to do that. Let's bring this file first. Let's bring it back. So we can since it was compressed using bzip2 program, we can do bzip2 and then the file name, which is file1.bz2. Now once we do that and we have a look at the size of the file, we see that indeed it has been recovered in its original state. Now if I were to use the tar command to tar this file and also to compress it, then I can use tar minus. For gzip, I use the switch Z. C is for creating the tar ball. We can use V if we want verbosity, and then for file we define the flag F, then the name of the file that we want to create. So let's call it file1.tar.gz. This gz is necessary to mention here. We can create the file in this format as well, tgz, because if we do not define gz, then while we are doing uncompression and this gz is not there, this program, either gzip or bzip2, they will not be able to understand that what compression algorithm was used. So it's necessary that either we use tgz as an extension or we write it like tar.gz. And after that, the original file, which is file1. So once we do that and I do an ls, we see that indeed this file has been created, file.tar.gzip. And if I do an ls minus l over here of let's say file1 dot, or maybe use wildcard over here and see both of these files side by side, or maybe like this. So we see that indeed its size has been reduced, but not as much as was earlier that we had seen. So in case of bring it back, like to untar it and unzip it, then we will be using this switch X, and the command would be tar minus Z again for compression, X for untarring it, and then F, and then the name of the file, which in this case is file1.tar.gz. Once we do that and we have a look at the directory, we see that alright, I think we should have first removed that file. How about removing this file, file1, because I did not remove it, so it was already there. Now once that is removed, we see that now there is only one file, which is tar and gunzipped. Now let's try to recover it by running the tar command with uncompression parameters and untar parameters. And now we do that, we see that the file has come back. Just like tar supports gzip, tar also supports bzip2 on the fly. So it's just the change of the switch. Let's just remove this file, remove this, or maybe leave it here. I was trying to remove this file1.tar.gz. Let's leave it there, and let's try to use the bzip2 algorithm to this time to compress the file. So I type in tar minus J is the switch that is used for bzip2. It's kind of odd, but you just need to remember it that J, if you're using tar command, then minus J is the switch that will do the compression for bzip2 algorithm. So minus J and CF, and afterwards the file name that we want to create. So call it file1.tar.bz2 and then the original file name, which was file1. So once we do that and we have a look at the files now, we see that indeed the file that has been compressed using bzip2 algorithm, it is compressed more as compared to gz. If I remove this file, file1, let's just remove it, file1, and now let's try to bring back this file from this bz2 using tar command. So I type in tar minus J again because we are going to use bzip2 algorithm, and this time X again is for untarring that, and F signifies the file name, and then the name of the file, which is file1.tar.bz2. And if I press enter now and do an ls again to see the contents, we see that indeed the file has come back. So that's all there is to it. You can have a look at the manual entries of gzip if you want to use some switches. Likewise, manual entry for bzip2 as well. If I bring it down and maybe we can give the output on the standard output. These are the flags that you can use. There's a force flag as well, and there's quiet mode as well. So not much option really in there, just pretty slick and straightforward command. Just give the command and the file name and boom, it's done. The file is compressed. And likewise, give the command and uncompressed command and the file name, and it comes back. So that's all there is to it. I hope you have learned about the compression algorithm, gzip and bzip2, and how we can integrate those algorithms in one command, that is tar.